If you watched my last video, I was putting the kicker on my 29 JD and putting it all together, real proud. It's going great. And then I put this on and it just didn't kick right. And I just didn't line up, nothing. I go, what is going on here? And so I got looking, and what I think I have, I think this here is JD, this is JD, and I think this stuff here is a VL, and I want to show you the difference, and I want to show you the design. I think this VL is designed a lot sturdier and better than a JD, and I'm guessing, you know, maybe it's a 40. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a VL. Maybe it's a 45. I don't know. So anyway, but it's different than what I'm pretty sure this is a JD. But let's take a look, and you can see why I was having some problems. And when I bought it, the transmission, this was, you know, in boxes, and I wonder why is, you know, the gears were in it, but why is all this in boxes? You know, motors together, and this wasn't. I guess a little different. Well, it doesn't look too hard. I can do this, but now I know why, because it didn't work. But let's compare these two, and you can see now. First, let's talk about the ratchet gears. Now this is the JD, and then look at how this has, and this is here, this has 6 teeth and how thin it is, and then this, I think it's a VL. Look at how many teeth this has, how thick. It's twice as heavy as this, and whoops, this is about the same, except I think the teeth are different. I think these teeth, unless they're extremely worn, which it could be, are different than these teeth. These look thicker, although it could be worn. And this one, I was wondering what are these knobs in here, and I finally found out what those were for, and we'll show you in a minute. Look at the spring size. VL's bigger. And then we get down to the housing. You go, well, John, they look exactly the same. Well, they look the same, but they are not. Those are not interchangeable. Some parts are, but this is, I think, the VL. This is kind of, you know, looks good. This has a Zerk fitting here, and it also has a Zerk fitting here. And this Zerk fitting is to oil this. This fits in like that, and then you have that Zerk fitting. The JD doesn't have that Zerk fitting there. Just has this one up here, although this has this slot right here, so grease can drip down there. And this one does not have that slot. So they compensated a little bit. So that's a little bit different. Also, you notice that this one has the slot in here. And I figured out what that slot is for the push, you know, the clutch push rod. This goes like this. And now this, and I call it dog leg, dog ear, whatever, I don't know. That goes in that slot. And that prevents this part from turning. And those are the gear, or the bearings. That goes in there like that. So that's interesting. This one doesn't need it because it uses this style. And this is self-contained. So It doesn't need that. So that's interesting. These are the same except on this one, either the whatever it is, this turns, it misses this. This is designed different here. It's designed different. This one stops. It hits this. I don't know why it does that. I think it's still going to work just fine, but it hits that. Let's talk about other differences. So, well, they're the same thing. Well, not really. This has a plate in here. And what that plate does, on this side it has these tangs, and this goes like this, and when you kick it, those tangs push this way. This one doesn't have the tangs in there, and so these teeth are doing all the pushing. Well, and then also, yeah, this is, this is worn out. I can see why. Worn out, I don't know. Worn, yes. These do have wear on them, but how does this work? I don't know. But these are really these mesh really well. There's no slop in here and here. I guess I was doing this one. There's no slop in there. Maybe it's just not worn as much, but I think this pushing this out has a lot to do with it. You can see the back of this has those, and how does that work? Well, that doesn't do that. Well, yeah, that goes like that, and that pushes that. Can you see that? Now that pushes that gear back, which is pretty interesting. Like that, and then you kick it, and it pushes it. So that's kind of interesting. And I think this is, it's a different model. And why do I think it's the VL? Well, I'm looking at this, and I turn this around, and this has got a part number. I think it's a 388-31. So it's a 31 part. 31's a VL, maybe it's a 45. I don't know. But it's a later model because it's got a 31 part number. This one, the part number here, I really can't. I think it says 28, could say 26, but I think it says 28. So this is a JD because it's got that number, 26 or 28 number. So I think it's got to be a JD. So they're different. Also, what's another difference between these? Look, they're not interchangeable because look where this tang is here and where this tang is on this one. They're in different locations, so that means the kicker, this is a kicker, and this sticks out, this is in, they're different. And so this, see how this sticks out and this one doesn't, and they're in different locations, so these are not interchangeable at all. So I learned that, and I just think this is the VL, I think, or whatever this is just a little heavier duty design, better design. another thing I wanted to show you, I had questions. I go, well, why did they change the design of this? This is, I believe, 27 and earlier, and this is 28 and later, and even on the VLs. Well, once you look at it a little bit, it's obvious. You have those little pins, and these pins wear like crazy. And I can see where, after a while, that if it wears, that would get stuck. Well, you want a clutch that works right. But on this, look how thick that is. That goes in there. I mean, you have a lot of wear area on that, so it didn't prove, so that's pretty good. So now I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, I have to use this because this won't fit. So we're going to put this together and we're going to see how it goes. But I'm going to put this away for right now. I've got some other things to do. Also, another thing, this spring is so, this must be a repo spring because this is so heavy. It's going to break. It's going to break these tangs. Or something's going to, it's going to break something. That would be easier to break because there's just too much force. So I've got another spring ordered, so I don't have to use that heavy spring. Also, another thing, this is the kicker arm. This goes in, let's do this. It goes in like this, and I go, somebody had to put a lot of force on there. What's a kicker arm? To break that, I was looking at this and go, wow. But what I think somebody took a torch and cut it. Why you do that is beyond me, but there must have been a reason. So I think looks like somebody took a torch. So that solves that mystery. So anyway, got that. Well, I hope you thought that was interesting. We're gonna give me some time. I'm gonna get this back together, and when it's done, I'll show you what it looks like.